What is up, YouTube? All right, forget the intro, man. I got a kidney stone, y'all, and it's been bothering me to death. I got a plate of food up here that I don't even want to eat because I'm in so much pain, but we're going to get through this. Check this out. I want to speak on this. It's funny because now this look like, yeah, that's two different people. There's a, oh my goodness. So let's do this, man. Check this out. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? We're going to tie that one to the end of this one right here. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Telvin was shot by his girlfriend, baby mama, his significant other, and he is saying that he loved white women, whatever. Blase, he says, and he was saying that he would rather F a dog than F a black woman, that's something terrible to say, you know. I'd rather F a dog than F a racist person. How about that? Yeah. And then the girlfriend turned around and accidentally shot her. That's what she's saying. So now the family, Telvin's family, is a little upset over the black community because they're not standing up for her. I mean, for the brother and everything. So anyway, man, let's check this bad boy out. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out.
Well, tonight in the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, there's a story that's been going around, and a lot of people have been speaking about this in the community. It's about a gentleman by the name of Telvin Osborne. Telvin is another black person that was big upping the folks and his woman's people in particular. And we want to go on and show exactly what happened. And then we're going to get into that conversation about some things that Telvin had to say about the community he comes from, the black community. Let's go ahead and check this out.
A new mugshot released for 25-year-old 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦 facing felony involuntary manslaughter charges in the shooting death of 30-year-old Telvin Osborne. This after the community and social media erupted this week after no immediate arrest was made in this case. According to a Burke County incident report, deputies responded to Western Estates on 4 Points Road Sunday morning for a gunshot wound. At the home, they found 30-year-old Telvin Osborne shot in the upper chest. Deputies say the suspect, 𝗗𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, called deputies and was applying pressure to the wound when they arrived. 𝗗𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 told deputies her and Osborne had been out all night and recently got home. 𝗗𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 told deputies in the report she was checking her firearm as they do every night. That's when the gun went off, hitting Osborne. 𝗗𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 told deputies she thought the gun was unsafe while checking it.
The case required a considerable amount of time and attention to detail, ensuring that there was a comprehensive inquiry, a thorough sifting of the evidence, and we have filed appropriate charges.
According to Sheriff Alfonso Williams, there's been misinformation spread about the case, including the suspect cleaning the weapon when it went off.
At no point during the investigation was there any information about a person cleaning a weapon.
He did say alcohol was involved in the shooting, and they're not listing this as accidental. He also said there was an altercation with some, quote, pushing and shoving before the incident happened.
It is reckless to go out and get drunk and then introduce a firearm into an argument.
I asked the sheriff if 𝗗𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 turned herself in or if deputies went to get her. The sheriff said they made arrangements with her to pick her up. Osborne's family tells us the 30-year-old worked out at Savannah Riverside, but often loved to fish, hunt, and raise animals. He was a father of two who they say loved his entire family.
Right. So you heard that, Hannah here was arrested for shooting her boyfriend. Now, you heard they went out, that night. They stayed out to the club or whatever to 5 o'clock in the morning. And at the end of that, then boom, this guy's not here anymore. Now, let's get into Telvin here. And, we've covered these kind of stories over the years. It's been women and men that have been, having some negative things to say about the black community. This gentleman, from what people have found out, he is FBA. And he was one of the ones that was up here. He said something. I'm not going to put this on the screen. I mean, it's all over X and anywhere else you want to see it. But this guy had made a post saying that he would rather commit an act of bestiality with a dog than to be intimate with a black woman. That is the most sick thing. And then he said it had to be a white dog in particular. That is the most sick thing that you can say. What kind of warped person you have to be in your mind to feel that an act of bestiality would be better than messing with or being intimate with a black woman? Something is way wrong with you. And thank God that you did not mess with any black women.
I wonder what his mother thinks about that post. If his mother's still alive. Maybe his mom is no longer. Maybe his mom left him. I would love to find out the information about his mom and what his mom is saying. Yeah, that's what I would want to know.
Than messing with or being intimate with a black woman. Something is way wrong with you. And thank God that you did not mess with any black women, because you are sick. And I don't think no black woman need to be fooling with no sick black man, period. No different than a sick black woman don't need to be fooling with a black man. It's just that simple. Now, we saw another gentleman by the name of 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦. He was Nigerian. He was on the same thing, calling black women 𝗗𝗓𝗡𝗓s and big up in the white woman, right? And then you saw what ended up happening to Christian. She stabbed him up, killed him, and all of that.
And that's something different.
Right? So, I'm a firm believer, and I preach this a lot with Minister Farrakhan that says, don't laugh, learn. Now, what can we learn from the situation with Telvin here? What can we learn? What did we learn with 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦 situation? They were very two similar people in the way they thought about black people, right?
Don't
they
be
both
around
had
nobody
a lot
when
of
they cleaning the
self-hate
gun.
issues. They were anti-black
Nobody.
racists within themselves. Yes, you got black folks that can be anti-black racists. Oh, yes, they can be. Oh, yes. I know you be like, oh, black person can't be. Oh, yes. They literally will look in the mirror. They feel like they are, when they look in the mirror, they feel like they are a white man, some way, form, or fashion, and that they got revitiligo like Uncle Ruckus. That's exactly like that revitiligo thing is real. Now, we laugh about Uncle Ruckus and the Boondocks, but that was a real thing. Because you got some black folks like that, okay? So what we have learned is this. You can sit up here and talk all the trash you want about black men, and you don't want to date them. You can talk all the trash you want about black women. But the moment that you start big-upping another group of people, another culture of people, and saying that, oh, they just so great, and oh, they can never do me wrong, or whatever the case may be, you are setting yourself up for certain destruction. That's just bottom line, what you're setting yourself up for. Because it's quite interesting that, 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦's lady, what's her last name? Clenny, forgot her first name. She took his life, but yet the white woman was the best thing going.
By accident, though.
Telvin here said what he said about black women, and look who ended up taking his life. It wasn't a black woman. It was a woman that he put on the pedestal. So what that tells me is this. We talking about what can we learn? Maybe you should not put no one on the pedestal. Human beings are human beings. Now, if you are truly happy with the white woman you're with, you don't have to talk down on black women, because that's called what it is. You got who you wanted, so there's no reason to talk bad about black women, because what is black women doing to you? You're not dating them. You're not with them. You're not anything. So why would you get on social media and say anything vile about black women? Period. If you have this attitude about black men and you want a white man, there's no reason to talk down on black men. You got the white man you wanted.
It's no reason.
What I've seen over the years, remember, learn, and I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this about 12 years. What they all have in common is that they're not happy with the white person they're with. And they deal with anti-black racism, being with that person. And because they're dealing with anti-black racism, they have to constantly reassure that woman or that man they're with that I don't want to be with a black person. So they have to get into anti-black racism to show the person they're with that I don't want a black man. I don't want a black woman. That is the weirdest and craziest thing ever. But some people who are just slaves, literally slaves in their mind, because you can't be in a relationship with them and be dominant. No, you can't. The reason why you can't be in a relationship with them and be dominant, even if you are the man, that woman has more power than you in American society. Listen to what they said in this report. We arranged a time to her to turn herself in. They never arranged for you to turn yourself in. They go come kick your door in and come get you, whether you're a black man or a black woman. The power dynamics in society is just not even right, whether it's the man or the woman. And I would say the woman has more of a power dynamic that she uses to her advantage than even the white man. But you have some, I know we laugh at Dr. Umar with the snow bunny stuff and all of that. But I told y'all, I agree 2,000% with Dr. Umar with that, with at least with definitely the snow bunny. I'm going to say that much, because we have to look at the culture that the snow bunny comes from. She comes from a historical culture that have been extreme anti-black racist toward FBAs. And not just FBAs, but any person who is of African descent, Caribbean descent. Look at the history of the Snow Bunny's community or her man's community. They both one and the same. They have a history of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, bombing our churches, colonizing and the continent of Africa, apartheid in South Africa, right? What they did in Zimbabwe. You look at the slavery in the Caribbean. I mean, this is the history of Becky and them.
Becky and them.
They have not changed that mindset of anti-black racism. It has not changed because...
How you know they ain't changed it? I was getting ready to say I was going to stop it 3 different times. Man, look, that was back then. We was taught differently. We believed differently. Now that we moved on, we learned different. We learned all kinds of stuff that we thought was right. Milk does the body good. Milk is the worst thing we the only animals on earth that keep drinking milk after we adults. We learn. They learned. We learned. Some of us learned. Should I say some of us? I disagree, man. I think that there are people, I have a lot of white friends, and we sit down and talk, man. We get into some deep talking. And one of my friends, his father is racist. And he talks racist all in his house. And I said, well, damn, he kind of taught me that my father racist. My father talk all kinds of racist stuff in his house. Because it's his house. It's his house, right? But we learn different. We got to start learning different, man. I think a lot of people learn differently. They started learning differently. That's how slavery ended in the first place. People started learning differently.
Of Becky and them. They have not changed that mindset of anti-black racism. It has not changed because it's part of the culture. Changed? What I mean by culture. Man, culture is what you teach your children, and then they teach their children, and then they teach their children. When we talk about quote unquote racism, that's not really what it is. It is a culture. They have a culture that they're teaching to have a hatred without a cause to the black man and woman.
Man, it's what we have done. KKK people, man.
We haven't done them anything. We didn't steal from them. We didn't do anything they did to us. They do this without a cause, but it's a culture. It's culture.
All of
and
them.
That's why when people say, well, how come the young ones in 2025 have the same attitude as the ones in 1955? How they have the same attitude? They have the same attitudes because of culture. And those in that community who don't feel that way, they are ostracized in their community. They're literally hated in their own community, and they're kicked out. I guess if you're going to date one of them, get the ones that their community can't stand. Get the ones that I guess if you're going to do it, like I said, I really don't recommend it, but if you're going to do it, get the ones that the whole community can't stand. But if they are in good with their community, then that means they are knowing they on the team with anti-black racism. And let's say they never said nothing out of line, out of pocket. Well, here's the thing. They will be silent when it's happening.
A bullshit?
Silent.
A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
Let's continue.
Is going along with it. How their community feel in their culture. Okay, you may not participate in it. You may not say the words we're saying, but you better not say nothing when we doing it. You better keep your mouth shut. And if they keeping their mouth shut, they own the team. That's the other part y'all not ready for. It's easy to point at the Klansman. It's easy to point at the Proud Boy or the skinhead. It's easy to point them out because they're loud. But there's more of them who are silent and silently agree with them. They just won't get out there and do that or say the things they're saying in fear of losing the job or them being outed to feel like them. You know, when Daniel Penny was needing money for his defense, it was not the ones that was loud and screaming, racial epithets. It wasn't them. It was those that's quiet. It's those that say they got a black friend.
Dude, that's in any situation, man. You got loud, let's say drug dealers. I don't know. Just pick something. Yeah, man, I'm flashing money or whatever. Then you got the real ones that's real quiet because they don't want to get caught. They really don't even want to do this. Black people do the same thing. You black people that are Uncle Toms and kiss tail at work, and then they get in their car and say, man, I can't stand these white folks. I got to go work with these white folks. Yes, sir. How you doing, sir? Oh, how was your day? Come on, dog. Everybody do the same thing, man. You can say that in any situation. You can't just say that they do it and we don't. We do it too. I've seen people talk so bad about white people and they go kiss right in their face when they need something. Man, shoot, man, I said, man, why you talk like that to him? Shoot, man, I need this job, man. I got to feed my kids. Yeah, but you don't have to talk like that to him. You kid, he laughing so hard at that corny joke that white man just said. And I'm not laughing at the joke. I'm not disrespecting them. I'm going to always respect everybody. That's what the problem is. But I'm going to let him know that was a corny joke. You want to hear a joke from Uncle Mike? I can tell a better one. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, man. This is ridiculous.
It's those that are married to black people that will support Daniel Penny. You understand?
No, I don't understand.
See, y'all, I've been doing this for too long. It's been my job to literally study the folks, how they move every which way, because I had to study. Because even the scriptures teach, study to show yourself approved. There's nothing they do or say that surprises me, because I've taken years and even written books, and I can go into writing more books about the psychology of how the folks move. That's why I come to the conclusion that brothers and sisters and them cannot have healthy relationships because of anti-black racism. It's going to come up. They're not going to get rid of white supremacy for the likes of you, me, or anybody else. And equality in that culture is oppression. And it's like that globally. Look in South Africa. They even thought of making South Africa equal in the guise of land. They said this, oh my God, they committing genocide. They ain't, trust me, I've been there. Them folks not worried for nothing. They not scared of nobody. Trust me. I knew that. Trust me. If anybody been to South Africa, you know that was a bold-faced lie. a lie. But even the thought of they're going to set this equal, oh my God, that's oppressive. Oh my God, look what's happening to us. That's because if they're not on top oppressing people, then we can't live. So what I have at least learned, I'm trying to teach you to learn, is you can't be they have a system that's completely on their side. You won't win that way. This is why even my strategy, my content strategy and everything that I do is centered around us. Because if I stay within the world of us and even us globally, I have more of a chance and advantage there. But when you step into their world, you don't. It makes sense?
No. Nope.
So you're going to have some Telvins out there, some Christian Obensellies out there, and they're going to find out the hard way. You're going to have some Lawrence Smithfields finds out the hard way. You know, it's a whole lot of black women that lost their lives too and talked a lot of negative things about black men. And it'll be more coming down the pipe because it's kind of like, you know, some people don't believe fat meat is greasy. Now, that's not the majority of black people that feel that way. It's not. It's not the majority of black men. It's not the majority of black women. Even statistics even bear that out. It's not the majority. But unfortunately, people like that are just loud with it. And so it gets more attention, right? So what I would say to the men and the women, when it comes to, listen, we haven't even gotten reparations, okay? They haven't shown not even any kind of remorse of what they done to us from slavery all the way up to now.
I couldn't get no more of that, man. I'm sorry. All right, check this out, man. I definitely wanted to get into this because this video right here is talking about, this is the second time this situation had happened, man. This is the second time. So let's check this out. And this is how much I have already seen. So let's rewind and oh, that's right. Love one another. I like that already. Love one another. Everybody.
Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So there's another case of a black man being in an interracial relationship and it going very badly for him. This is a case out of Burke County, Georgia, near the town of Waynesboro on the eastern coast of Georgia near South Carolina. This is a young man, in case you haven't heard, involved with a white woman, and they have 2 children together. I don't think they were married, but they were living somewhere in this town outside of Waynesboro, Georgia, in a trailer park, and they went out partying. I believe it was Saturday night or last Saturday night. Came back home drunk, apparently, had an altercation. She pulled out their protection piece, and that was the end of him. This case is very similar to the one that came out of Florida a few years ago with the Nigerian man with a white woman. They're in a relationship where she was the best thing since sliced bread. They were happy. Everybody thought they were happy, but there was trouble in paradise. She was not as happy with him as he was with her. It turned out the whole thing blows up and he's on the floor fighting for his life, which he lost. There are some similarities in these cases. Both of these are men of African descent with white women who consider the prize of all women, and they've elevated these women, pedestalized these women on their social media platforms as they berated and degraded black women. Now, the Nigeria guy's tweets were bad enough, but this black American man's tweets were worse. He went in on black women, and I mean, for no apparent reason. Nobody even knows what kind of relationship he's ever had with black women. I know he has a black mother, but nobody even knows the basis of that. But they both went in heavily against the black women, making every kind of derogatory remark you could make about black women, even as they put these white women on a pedestal. And both of their lives came to an end at the hands of their chosen white woman, their preference. Now, in the case of the Nigerian man, upon his demise, his family was very dignified. They were obviously in mourning. They grieved over their family member, but they came to the public the right way. They were sincere in asking the community to be concerned because they were trying to get to the bottom of what had happened to their family member. And in any case like that, it helps when the public gets involved. So his family struck the right chord with people. And even though black women said, this is not our fight, they still did it the right way. I was moved by their grief. They did a press conference with their lawyers. They explained what had happened, very dignified. Now, the same cannot be said for this Black American family, I hate to say. They came out swinging. When the paperwork came in on Telvin Osborne that he had been making all of these derogatory, demeaning, and just really vile statements about black women pulled back and said, you're on your own. This is not our fight. Well, instead of them behaving in a dignified manner, his family members handled it all wrong as far as I'm concerned. One of his family members took to social media and said he understood why this guy didn't date black women because black women didn't give the response that he wanted. So he understood why he didn't date black women, as if who he dated was something of real importance. Most people wouldn't even know who he dated if he didn't tell, because he was not a prize package in the eyes of many black women. He's not what you would call in the top 10 of most desirable black men in America. So nobody knew who his preference was. And nobody would have known if he hadn't said it. But once he said it, then he brought black women into the conversation. So these two men, through their arrogance, their foolishness, and their dysfunction, put their families in very difficult positions. In both cases, law enforcement was reluctant to arrest the women. And then the families started saying it was white privilege. It was because those women were white. But we have to keep in mind, those men liked those women in the first place because they were white. And they pedestalized them because they were white. And they elevated them over black women because they were white. So I don't think that their whiteness should even enter into the equation. It just needs to go on facts, what happened. Now, that's just my opinion. So there are 2 points that I want to make before I end this video. Number one, white women need to recognize red flags in black men, because this is coming up often enough that I think that white women need to be warned about these kind of men. When you're dating a man and he hates the women of his race more than he does anybody else, not only that, but he centers his anger, because this man had anger issues. He centers his anger in the women of his race, or he centers his anger in something or somebody else. That's a red flag. There are white women who will take to social media and say that they will not date a black man who doesn't date black women or who is constantly berating black women, because those white women realize that is a problem, and that will be a problem in that relationship. It is dysfunctional for you to be in a relationship with a white woman and have your teeth in the black woman's back all the time, especially people who are not even aware that you're alive. You got this imaginary black woman in your head that you can't get out of your head, and you're in a relationship with a white woman. That's a sign right there that you need to get that black woman out of your head. You might need to go to some kind of therapy. That is unhealthy. So the white woman or the Asian woman or the Hispanic woman that gets involved with a black man like that needs to know from the start, this relationship is not going to end well. And I'm going to say this, and I don't know what happened between that woman and that man, but the police are saying that there was an altercation. I'm going to say that that woman didn't just all of a sudden take up a weapon and decide to end that man's life. Something happened. So even though he's out there singing the praises of this white woman, only the white woman that was living in that house with him knows what he was really like. And she has a story to tell too. She has been arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, and that carries 1 to 10 years in Georgia. So it's very possible that she might get off very lightly, if not altogether. And you can call it white privilege if you want to, but it was always white privilege because she's been white all the time. Now, I'm not trying to diagnose anybody's case, but I just know it's something wrong with you when you go around with hatred in your heart for somebody who's not even thinking about you. That is not healthy, and that is a disorder that needs to be diagnosed by a professional. And the last thing I want to say is I have 2 friends that are psychologists, and one of them is adamant that there is undiagnosed mental illness in the Black American community. And we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to talk about mental illness because that's taboo in the Black American community. But there is undiagnosed mental illness in our community. And one of the main things that we're going to have to work on as a race is self-hatred. Because if you hate Black women that much and you are a Black person, what does it say about you? Because no matter how many white people you get involved with, they cannot erase your Blackness. They can't. So mental illness in the Black community is a problem. And when a man like this carries on the way he does, we have to assume that there's something that's not quite right with that person. And the people around him, his family members, when they're always talking about Black women this and Black women that, or Black men this and Black men that, you never found a Black woman that you liked, you never met a Black man that you could stand. Please understand that that problem is you. That problem is you, especially when you have decided to move on with another race of people, but you're still stuck in your hatred of Black women or Black men. That is a sign of self-hatred. That's all I got to say. And my very last point is that there is a small group of Black men on social media who are trying to shame Black women because Black women are saying that this is not my problem. This has nothing to do with me. You cannot shame somebody into caring about someone, especially somebody that didn't care about them. So the best thing, I guess, to do is just to not say anything. But it is social media, and people are going to talk. And when you bring your problems to social media, people are going to have their say. It is tragic when something like this happens because it doesn't just involve those 2 people. It involves families, extended family, friends, communities, and to a certain extent, the country, because this is a problem that can happen anywhere in the country. But as far as the Black community is concerned, we still just need to be a little bit more careful about what we're saying. Choose your partners wisely, live, and let other people live. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.
And you have a good evening. You know what, man? I would love for somebody. Now, we did 3 videos on this Telvin guy. Rest in peace, Telvin. I'm sorry. That was so sad that what happened. Y'all not looking at it from this lady accidentally shot her baby's father. Did she do it on purpose? Let's say she didn't do it on purpose. She called 911. She trying to get the... How you think she feel? This don't have nothing to do with race. That part don't have nothing to do with race. A woman accidentally shot her boyfriend, her baby father. They got kids together and everything. She got to live with that with the rest of her life. She got to raise them kids, and she got to live with this the rest of her life. Mommy, where daddy at? Oh my God. I can't imagine how she feel if it was an accident. Then if you pulled the trigger and you shot the mother, it still don't have nothing to do with race. there's plenty of black women to shoot black men or white women to shoot white men. This don't have nothing to do with race. Y'all making it into race because what he did was he was wrong for what he did. He was wrong to make it about race and start talking about black women. And he would rather F a dog than a black woman. Good God Almighty, I would see that. I would love to see that. Since you want to put that out there, let's see it. What you rather do? Oh my goodness, man. I would love to see, y'all send me a link or send me somebody's channel that's covering this. I would love to see what a white person, male or female, what they got to say about this. Or are they covering a YouTube channel? You know what I'm saying? I would just love to see what a white person have to say. Because when a black person talks about this whole thing, they gonna throw race all up in your face. They gonna throw the race card all in your face. Let's see what a white person covering this story says. I wonder if this a white person covering the story. You know, already. See, they got another black person covering it. Hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Colorblind Mike. That's what I should have said. Peace out.